Let me ask you a question. What do you do when everything you set out to do doesn't work? You followed your family's plan, you checked out all the boxes, you went to school, you did everything you were supposed to do, and it still didn't work. Anybody went through some pain like that? Raise your hand. Anybody went through some pain when you set out to do everything you were supposed to do and it still didn't work? I'm glad I'm not by myself. Because what everybody doesn't tell you is that success doesn't show up for you. Success has to show up on you. And the only way it sticks is when you're ready for it. When you become a new person. So let me invite you guys into a story about myself, Jamal Walker. I have a business management degree and a business marketing degree. I graduated from college, Southern Illinois, and I was feeling good. I got my dream sales job. I was able to move from Chicago, Illinois, the south side of Chicago, to Washington, D.C. I mean, 10 minutes away from the Capitol building, Washington, D.C. My dream job had me making a little bit less than $100,000, and I was able to buy my dream car at 22 years old. I bought a Mercedes-Benz at 22 years old. I was feeling myself. Okay? And what did I do? I decided to walk away from it all, to chase my dreams in Los Angeles, California. Okay? So I moved to Los Angeles, California, in a hope and a dream to pursue my passion of hosting events. And I started my brand by the name of Millennium. And it is an event production company and an event marketing company. Again, I walked away from it all. And I decided to start hosting events. And when I decided to start hosting events, I thought it was kind of sweet because I was already hosting events in Chicago. I was already hosting events in DC. And my two best friends had hosted major concerts with two of the biggest hip hop stars to date. So I was feeling myself. I thought proximity would get me lit. I thought proximity would lead me to success. But it didn't. So my real reality was I moved across the country. I moved away from stability. And I started hosting events. In my first 5 events, I brought out a total of 19 people. Not each event, a total of 19 people for the first 5 events. And I was that person who was smiling in public but stressing in private. I was that person who was like very, very, very hard on myself. So I hit a low point. I hit a really big low point. And I started thinking, what am I gonna do? This is not like me. It was so low of a point that I was living out of my backpack. It was so low of a point that I couldn't afford my rent anymore, so I started living with a friend. And I was living on the couch. And I was that guy who was taking girls on dates and going to the bathroom to check my account. I was that guy who made his office the Denny's in North Hollywood, California, and I'd search for the booth that had the outlet. It got that tough. And I had to make a decision. I had to make the decision and think, damn, should I just go back home? Did I make the wrong decision? Am I built for this? So I had some key moments in telling myself, you know what? You're not going back to the south side of Chicago. You're not quitting. You're not going to do this halfway. So I stopped all the partnerships that I had with my events. And I called my family members and I said, I need to go all in. Raise your hand if you needed to go all in before. Have you ever been all in? So I said, I need to go all in. They said, well, you're really not doing that good, Jamal. Like, you sure? In 24 hours, my younger brother took me to the bank. He invested $13,000. I remember the day. He took me to Wells Fargo. And I honestly was like, you sure? And he did it. It was such a blessing. And that waiver of faith was the birth of Millennium Age. And it turned into one of the best investments that I ever made in life. So I cut out all the partnerships that I had. I turned down all the venues that I was doing. I stopped being pimped by all the partnerships and the wrong partnerships that led to no money. And again, decided to get the investment in myself. And this is all about believing in yourself when there isn't any proof yet. So I had to have a mindset shift. And that mindset shift was, I had to stop working harder and I had to start working smarter. I had to start focusing on systems. I had to start investing in the people. I had to start investing into mentorships. So the real question that I posed to myself was, Jamal, you're not trying to just make one event work. You need to be building something that works everywhere. That turned from one event in North Hollywood to 10 events across the nation. Then those 10 events across the nation turned into 20 events. Then those 20 events turned into 40 events. Those 40 events turned into 2,500 events with a full staff. My brand turned into a full-scale event production company that programmed $3 million in ticket sales. And it literally felt like it happened overnight. I remember getting a call from Revolt TV saying, hey, look, we're doing a big conference. Name your number. I remember getting an email from Spotify. And I'm like, this can't be real. I remember prepping for a pre-Oscars party. And then I remember signing a contract with the Hard Rock Casino. But then I look back and I remember it was all an identity shift. I didn't get lucky. I had to become somebody different. I couldn't stay the old Jamal. I had to become comfortable with pain. I had to be disciplined. I had to make a routine that my friends didn't align with. I had to stay focused and say no more than I said yes. I had to set strategic goals that weren't linear. They were exponential goals. So family, you don't get new results until you become a new person. And everyone here who has a small business, you think when you're marketing your business, you think it's about the flyer. You think it's about the venue. You think it's about your promotion, but it's not. It's about your systems. It's about the messaging. And it's about the audience. I realized the hard way, if you're talking to everybody, you're actually talking to nobody. You have to speak to a niche group of people. And with that niche group of people, you have to remove them from the pain and bring them closer to the pleasure. So these systems I created in my business, they created predictability. These systems created consistency. These systems allow for freedom. So today as I close, I ask you, who do you need to become? Not what do you need to become, who do you need to become? And what do you need to unlearn to get to the next level? And the only way you lose is if you stop. Everything else is just part of the process. So Success doesn't happen in front of you, it happens on you. And after you become the person who can sustain that success, that's when it really hits. So don't chase results. Chase growth. Don't chase results. Chase discipline. Don't chase results. Chase becoming a new person. And become someone your old self wouldn't recognize. Thank you.